Brawl Stars has added over 84 different brawlers since its release. Across all of these brawlers we have seen hundreds if not thousands of balance changes implemented. But with so many unique brawlers in the game, it's no surprise that sometimes brawlers are stronger than anticipated. Trying to find the perfect balance between all of the brawlers is near impossible. While every balance change is likely thoroughly play tested by the team, often it's not enough to iron out the kinks. Sometimes a brawler makes it into the game being a lot stronger than expected. Today we'll take a look at 10 of the most broken brawlers in Brawl Stars history, and give a brief explanation of the circumstances that made them so game-breaking. Many of these brawlers have had multiple periods of being overpowered in their lifetime. However, for this list, each brawler will only appear once. Because I have no knowledge of the game prior to its global release, I will not include any of the brawlers during that period of time. Additionally, we will not consider any hypercharges simply because not every brawler has one. Starting our list off in the number 10 spot is Surge in August of 2020. Surge is one of the most interesting brawlers in terms of his mechanics. His super allows him to upgrade to a more powerful version of himself. He starts off the game in a slow and non-threatening state but can quickly ramp up power and be a more dominant version of himself. Surge was the second brawler with the chromatic rarity coming into the game through the Brawl Pass of Season 2. Surge's mechanics have changed a lot over the years. He was at his peak soon after his release. His Power Surge gadget used to have a different use. The gadget would allow Surge to straight up teleport through walls, which was something we had not seen before. This turned him into more of an assassin, allowing him to quickly teleport through walls onto weakened enemies. Additionally, his to the max star power used to be much stronger. Instead of only splitting when his main attack hits a wall, it would split at his max range as well. This would allow Surge to deal an insane amount of damage by missing just to the side of an enemy. These two broken mechanics made for a very overpowered Surge. In our number 9 spot we have Chester. Chester was one of the strongest he has ever been as soon as he was released. What made him so strong was his supercharge rate and his damage output. He could deal 5,000 damage with the damage gear active on his final shot. This was before the change to the health and damage scaling with each power level. This meant there were a handful of brawlers he could one-shot. All of his supers were strong, but the one that stood out the most was his stun star power. It had a much faster projectile speed, making it easier to land and dealt over 2,000 damage at power level 11. This super alone saw 4 different nerfs. Chester's time at the top was short-lived, unlike the next legendary brawler. Coming in at number 8 is July 2023 Cordelius. Cord is a legendary brawler. What earns him his legendary status is his super. Using his super, he can take himself and an enemy into the Shadow Realm where they can 1v1. The only way to escape the realm is to win the 1v1 or wait the 8-second duration of his super out. Before a series of nerfs, Cord could charge his super in the Shadow Realm. This paired with his Mushroom Kingdom star power made it incredibly easy for him to cycle through supers, easily taking out the enemy team with a series of 1v1s. His star power would allow him to pick up 3 mushrooms in the Shadow Realm that heal him for 1,400 per mushroom. This made it so that he almost never needed to stop to heal. This made him incredibly toxic to play against. Additionally, Cord could also use his replanting gadget to jump over walls in the Shadow Realm as well. This made it nearly impossible to escape Cord once he took you to the Shadow Realm. Do not even get me started on how obnoxious he is in Showdown. Cord has a passive supercharge when an enemy is in range. This makes it so that he does not need to attack to get a super. A game-breaking teaming strategy developed where Cord would super an enemy, taking them both to the Shadow Realm. Then both players would quickly move to a different bush. This made it impossible to tell where Cord was, and oftentimes he would come out of the Shadow Realm right on top of a defenseless player. The most annoying time to play with Cord was during big game. Soon after his release, players would troll the whole lobby either by being the big boss and taking one person to the realm and just waiting the duration out, or one of your teammates would take the boss to the realm and give him a free win. Due to the nature of his super, Cord will likely always be strong. The same cannot be said for our number 7 spot, Sprout. Sprout is a brawler that has one of the highest skill ceilings in the game, with most players choosing to avoid it. This was not the case in April of 2020. Sprout is a mythic brawler and on its release brought a lot of game-changing mechanics to the game. Unlike today, Sprout's main attack Seed Bomb had a huge explosion radius. This made it incredibly easy to hit enemies, pairing well with its ability to bounce off walls like a Rico shot. What made Sprout so broken was its super. We had not seen anything like it before. Its super could lock down important areas of the map, blocking travel for both teams for 10 seconds unless a brawler with a wall break ability broke it sooner. This had a wide variety of uses, like blocking choke points to the gem mine or hot zone area. This was especially good in the game mode Siege. Sprout's super could easily be used to reroute the enemy siege bot, buying your team more time to destroy it. But where Sprout really shined was in Brawl Ball. Before the nerf on April 15th, Brawlers' invulnerability shields would not destroy its super. This meant Sprout could trap the entire enemy team in their spawn, allowing them a free goal in Brawl Ball. Many players claimed it felt like playing a modded game. Although now, Sprout's super may seem a bit underwhelming, our number 6 spot Sandy still has one of the most powerful supers in the game. Sandy remains in a healthy spot in the meta even today. Try to imagine how strong he was before he was hit with almost a dozen different nerfs. In September of 2019, Sandy was the strongest we would ever see him. He had one of the most broken supers to date. On release, his super would only take 5 shots to fully charge and lasted an insane 12 seconds. Granting his team invisibility for 12 seconds made it incredibly easy to cycle through supers. Bear in mind, his Rude Sand star power did 200 DPS to any enemy standing in the super. This would completely deny access to a large portion of the map, making Sandy unstoppable. Once he was able to get his first super, it was nearly impossible for the other team to regain map control. This should not come as a surprise to anyone, considering after 5 years and 12 different nerfs, Sandy still has one of the strongest supers in the game. Even today, where his super takes 7 hits to charge, it is still fairly easy to cycle through supers and maintain control over the map. Sandy with a 5-hit supercharge was a nightmare. It seems like invisibility is a telltale sign of a broken brawler, because our number 5 brawler, Kit, is also capable of going invisible. If you have been playing Brawl Stars for the past year, you know that Kit has been problematic for the game since his release. He was in his strongest state as soon as he landed into the game. He brought multiple new mechanics to the Brawl Stars scene, the most significant being his super. He could leap through the air onto a friendly or enemy brawler. If he landed on a friendly brawler, he could remain attached to them for 10 seconds or 15 seconds with the overly attached star power. He would heal the friendly brawler for 10% of their maximum HP per second. This made for some obnoxious team comps and Knockout especially. The Kit plus Tank plus Kit counter comps dominated Knockout on almost every map. This was not even Kit's strongest game mode. He would absolutely terrorize any showdown lobby. Although this was confirmed to be a bug, Kit's super charge rate would scale with the amount of power cubes he got. After 6 power cubes, Kit would get his super back if he landed his super, meaning he could stun lock enemies in place. He never even had to get off of them. This made for some insane clips of Kit jumping from enemy to enemy, getting every elimination in showdown games. His star power, Power Hungry, only amplified his ramp up potential, giving him 200% extra boost from each power cube. His cardboard box gadget allowed him to go invisible for 5 seconds. This made it so that nowhere was safe when Kit was in the lobby. Sticking with the theme of broken gadgets, our number 4 spot Charlie has one of the most obnoxious gadgets when she was released. Sticking with the theme of broken gadgets, our number 4 spot Charlie had one of the most obnoxious gadgets when she was released. Charlie has not even been in the game a full year and she has received 14 different nerfs. 14. She might have been one of the most toxic brawlers in the entire game when she was released. The nature of her mechanics made her this way. On release, her super would trap enemy players for 10 seconds, which is an eternity in a Brawl Stars game. Not only would her super take them out of the fight for 10 seconds, if she used her digestive star power, it would also take 50% of their remaining health. Additionally, they would lose a portion of their ammo. Her Spiders gadget was similar to Tara's support from Beyond gadget, only significantly stronger. On her release, she spawned 3 spiders with 2,200 health. The spider would chase the closest enemy and do a dashing attack through their target. This gadget would win almost any 1v1 that Charlie was in. It only took Charlie 5 hits to get a super, and if you landed it, it was impossible not to confirm the kill. If you were worried about fighting the trap brawler after they escape, you could just drop a Spiders gadget and make it even easier on yourself. A super that added a new mechanic like this was bound to break the meta. The same thing can be said for the number 3 pick, Leon. Leon was added to the game game in December of 2018. He was released in the game update that released Brawl Stars globally. He was the 3rd legendary brawler and oh my god was he strong. Leon's shot did 500 damage per blade at power level 1. He shoots 4 blades. That's 2000 damage per ammo at power level 1 in 2018. He could take out an equal level bull in 2 shots. His super lasted 10 seconds and he was not revealed to enemies unless they hit him. He could literally stand right on top of an enemy without them knowing. Imagine Leon having the traits of his hypercharged super on every super. That's how strong he was on release. Leon was by far the strongest brawler in the game at the time. While Leon is one of 5 legendary brawlers on this list, there is only one rare brawler that was strong enough to make the list. Our number 2 spot is Rosa. Rosa was added to the game in April of 2019. Rosa was by far the strongest tank in the game. She might have been the most game-breaking brawler in the game simply because she was a rare brawler, meaning everyone had her. When she was released, her super could charge in 9 hits, and since she fired 3 shots per ammo, she could fully charge a super in 3 attacks. Her super is what made her virtually unkillable. Her super shield gave her 80% damage reduction and lasted 6 seconds. Even with all 3 enemy brawlers shooting at you, there was no chance of dying. Because it lasted for 6 seconds and it was so easy to charge another super, once you had one super, you basically had one for the rest of the game. There is not much to say about Rosa, she was just practically unkillable. It took 7 harsh nerfs to get Rosa under control. These balance changes left her in a weak position in the meta. Before we talk about the number 1 spot, here are some honorable mentions. When Gene was released to super crash everyone's game, he was not overpowered, just actually game breaking. 8-Bit's extra life star power made him incredibly strong in Showdown. Unlike Rosa, who finds herself in the bottom of the meta now, our number 1 spot still dominates the meta. Larry and Lori have been in the game for a little less than a year and they have never been anything but an S tier pick. They have been nerfed 11 different times and still remain the best and most versatile lobber in the game. Their super put the twin onto the field, bringing a 4th brawler in on your team. The clone had an attack similar to Shelly's attack, which made it so that Larry could counter assassins and tanks with the twin. On release, the Protocol Protect star power allowed the twin to absorb 100% of incoming damage. This meant Larry essentially had 13,000 health when his twin was on the field. His super was charged in 5 hits, meaning he almost always had the twin out. The fallback gadget healed both Larry and Lori for 33% of their maximum HP. This made them almost impossible to kill. During this time, matchmaking was temporarily changed to allow duplicate brawlers on the same team. Because the twins were so strong, it was better to have a random person who was also playing the twins instead of having someone you know on your team. Players were solo queuing to rank 35 in 3v3, which had never been seen before. The twins were so unbelievably strong they are still an S tier brawler after 11 different nerfs. It is unlikely we will see another brawler as broken as them anytime soon. Thanks for watching, be sure to subscribe and consider becoming a member.